Hey y'all, so welcome back to my channel, Convos with God. And today I wanted to talk to you really quickly about the pivot, about pivoting. So we are towards the end of June, going into July. And for some of you who have created goals and things that you are working on, I would not be surprised if some of you encountered setbacks or obstacles where you're like, okay, but God, I thought this is what you wanted me to do, right? And you're having to figure out, well, what do I do now? Do I drop it? Do I try to find a way to make it work? Do I switch on to something else? And that's what I want to talk to you about really quickly. So in December, I had an event. It was a purpose planning type event. And one of the things that I remember discussing with the women is that come this coming year, as you're working on some of the goals that you're working on, you may experience a moment where it seems like things are just not working out. You may have obstacles or setbacks, or things just kind of put in your way just to make you kind of think twice. Did I hear God correctly? Is this really what He wants me to do? Like, to really cause you just to kind of like, wait a minute, what is happening here type situation. And not surprisingly, I've had a few of the women who had reached out, letting me know kind of like their progress and where they are. And there are some of them who have experienced just that, where things have taken a turn, or they're suddenly faced with something and they're just like, wait, like, what do I do now, right? The way that it's worked out is that there are some of them that have just been kind of working through the vision that God has given them while they're waiting, or while they're dealing with this new transition or this new issue that has come up, and are finding that God is remaining faithful, right? That God is providing, that God is still giving clarity, and God is really working on building their faith and trusting what He said the first time. Okay. And so if you are experiencing a moment where you're like, should I pivot right now? Like, should I do something else? Should I drop this? And I want you to know, if it is something that God has given you to do, this is not time for you to pivot. It's time for you to work your faith and continue to stand on what God said and find another way. Sometimes we think that the way that we're thinking is the only way and that there's no other routes, there's no other way. And we know that that's not true, because even in the natural, when you're driving on a road, you're going to a destination, there are different ways for you to get to that destination. What happens when there's a detour put along the way? You have to take another route. Now, that other route is going to be a little bit different than what you originally were going to do, right? And some may be shorter, some may be longer detours, but at the end of the day, there is another route. And I want you to know that when you're working on a God-given vision, a God-given goal, trust and believe the enemy is going to find a way to get you discouraged, find a way to get you to drop whatever it is that you're doing. And that's when you cannot give up. Okay. That's when you have to trust God, trust the vision, and ask God to help you see the other way, right? Because sometimes He's providing the detour. He's like, take this way instead, but we are not picking up on it because we're so discouraged, or we're so bummed out or angry over, the conflict or the issue that we're experiencing, right? And so I want you to know, there are moments when you should pivot and just do something completely different, right? And there are moments where you just got to find another way. And I want to let you know, if you've been questioning this, if you are someone who's been questioning this and you're just like, God, what do I do right now? Do I continue, or do I just drop it and move on to something else? May this be confirmation for those of you that it pertains to, that find another way. Ask God to show you the other way, okay? And sometimes we forget that we can ask God for these things. We can pray and say, God, I'm experiencing this, or this is what's happening. I don't see another way through, or help me see what I am not seeing. Help me see the other solution. Help me see all my other options, so that we're not so stuck and just bent on just one way, one option, when God's like, I got a box of options that you can choose from. Okay. So I don't want you to get discouraged. I don't want you to lose faith. I don't want you to think that you heard God wrong. I want you to ask God for another way, for another solution, another option, an alternative for the detour. God, help me see the detour. Okay. And there are moments where God will tell you, like, I need you to pivot. I need you to drop this and do this instead. And when you have reached that moment, for some of you, then obviously listen to how God is leading you. But if that's not where you are, and it's just a matter of seeing what the other options are, seek the other option. At the end of the day, you will see breakthrough. At the end of the day, you will accomplish what it is that God has given you to accomplish, but do not give up. Understand that every purpose-filled assignment comes with resistance. Okay, they come with resistance. They come with the enemy finding ways to try to interfere. They come with spiritual warfare. And then there's natural things that just naturally happen, right? Because the God way and the purpose-filled way oftentimes is not the quickest and the easiest and the smoothest way. Oftentimes, it requires us to trust God. And as we're going through these hurdles and these ups and downs and these uncertainties, it requires us to trust God and put our faith truly in Him. And there we begin to grow and mature in our faith and in our discernment. Okay. And so understand that just because you might be experiencing some resistance or some turbulence, it doesn't mean that it's wrong. It doesn't mean that this is not what God wants, that God changed His mind. It just means that the enemy is doing his part, or God is continuing to mold you and mature you through this process. Okay. But at the end of the day, just ask God for the other solution. Ask Him for the detour. Ask Him to show you the detour and take that detour, continuing to trust and believe that if God gave you the vision and you've taken steps to be obedient with that vision, that He will see you through. Okay? He will see you through. So roadblocks happen all the time. They come up and you just never know in which way it's going to come up or where exactly on your journey it's going to come up, but it's going to come up, right? That's why we have to prepare for that. But when it does come up, we have to now know, what do we do next? And I just want to encourage you that what you do next is not panic. What you do next is not be discouraged. What you do next is not abort the mission or the project or the business. What you do next is seek God for the detour that you need to take, right? That will get you to where you need to get to. All right. So just a quick little reminder or encouragement for you. So let me know where you are in when it comes to your goals and your visions and these things that you've been working on this year. I know some people are moving along nicely, which is amazing. I know some people have actually accomplished some things that they've set out to do, which is amazing. And then there are some people who haven't started. And so where are you on your walk for 2025 when it comes to your goals and your visions? Where are you with that? Let me know. Until next time. Bye.